So now we're going to graph r equals 2 sine of 3 theta. Now keep in mind here, this 3 here is my multiplier of my x or my theta, which tells me I get 3 sine curves from 0 to 2 pi. So simply what that means for me here is my period is 2 pi thirds. So that means I'm going to want to pick small angles in order to graph this thing. So I'm going to go every 15 degrees. So I'm going to do every one of those around here. And that's how I'm going to do this one because of the period being so small like it is. All right, so I'm going to set up the table now. So here it is. Now I did this one in degrees because there's so many and we're going to have to graph all these. Now this would be enough points for this, but keep in mind, how many points is that? It's really 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 points. So just kind of keep that in mind as we're going through this. There's not a set number of points that we need for any of these graphs. Just enough to make sure we know exactly what's going on with these. So now all I'm going to do is start graphing all of these. So look at the first one here. So the first one's going to be 0, so it's there. Okay. The next one's going to be at 15 degrees, which is there. And that's going to be 1.41. So the way I'm going to set this up is the same I did the last. Oops. 2, 3, 4. So there's going to be my 1, and there's going to be my 2. All right, so when I go 15 degrees, it's 1.41, so that's going to be just before this one here. And then at pi 6, which is 30 degrees, it's going to be 2. And then 1.41 again, which is there. And then back to 0 again, which is here. Okay, now I'm going to go to 60 degrees, and it's going to be 0, and that's where we're back here again. So keep in mind where I'm at now. I'm right here. So now I'm going to do, we did all these already. So now I'm going to do this 75 degrees here. So at 75 degrees, which is here, it says it's negative 1.41. So that's going to shoot me through the other side. So it's going to be here. Okay, because remember, I'm going in this direction since it's negative. Okay, so now the next one is going to be pi halves, which is here. And that's going to be negative 2, so that puts me down here. And then the next one, which is here, that's going to be negative 1.41 again. So that's going to be here. So it shoots me down this way again. Remember, guys, it's weird when I'm doing those negative radiuses. It throws me off a little bit sometimes. And then if you look at the next one at 120, which is here, it's going to be back at 0. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to graph this now so you can kind of see what we're doing so far and you don't get lost in all the points. So we started here. Oops. So we started here. Oh. We went around here. Went there, we went through, come across here, and then we went back around, and then we went back to 0, and that's where we stopped so far. All right, just so you know how it's rolling out. So now at 135, it's 1.41, so 135 is here. And then it's 1.41 again, so it's just before that 1 1/2 mark. And then at 150, it's 2, and then at 165, it's 1.41 again, so that'd be there. And then at 180, it's back to 0 again, so it's here. So now I'm going to just finish this up so you guys can see the completed picture here. Now, I knew this was a completed picture. This is what we call a rose, but watch how it's graphing. Okay, that's the important thing to catch on to here, is how this thing is graphing. There it is, and it brings me back there. Now, it took me to 180 degrees to actually graph this whole thing. And what happens if I continued, I would just retrace it again. So that's what's interesting about these roses. These roses graph, every one of them graphs from 0 to 180 when I deal with these odd multipliers. So this is what we call a rose. All right, so there it is. Now on a test, you'd probably have to write all of these values down to get full credit. It just shows me that you know what's going on. Because our calculator can graph these if we put it in the right mode. So you turn it on, and you actually click on mode, and then the fourth line down, it says polar, and just turn on polar, and then you just go to graph. And you can actually look at the table and actually get all of these if you know how to do that. If you don't, please email me, let me know, and I'll try to set something up for you to show you how to do that. So there it is.